Switzerland, a country known for mountains, precision, and extraordinary wealth. It has one of the strongest economies on Earth. Top-tier salaries, high living standards, and world-class productivity. But Switzerland also has something unusual, something that surprises millions of people around the world. There is no national minimum wage, no single law that forces companies to pay a legally defined amount. Yet, workers in Switzerland often earn more than workers in countries that asterisk do. Asterisk have minimum wages. So how is that possible? How does a country with no minimum wage end up with some of the highest salaries in the world? Let's break it down. Many people imagine Switzerland as some kind of pure, free market paradise. But that isn't really true. Switzerland isn't America, and it's not Scandinavia either. It's a unique hybrid, a system that combines strong workers' rights, powerful unions, and negotiated wage agreements, with a competitive and highly productive private sector. In Switzerland, wages aren't usually set by politicians. Instead, they're set through collective bargaining agreements, contracts, negotiated between unions and employers. These agreements cover more than half of the country's workforce, and in many industries, they act almost like minimum wages, but they're flexible, industry-specific, and created through cooperation, not top-down politics. This bottom-up model is a defining part of the Swiss identity. One of the most important moments for this system came back in 2014. Swiss citizens voted on introducing a national minimum wage of 22 francs per hour, which was around $25 at the time. If it had passed, it would have been the highest minimum wage in the world. But Switzerland said no. More than 76% of voters rejected it, not because they didn't care about workers, but because they believed a national wage law would harm small businesses, increase costs, and disrupt a system that already worked well through negotiation. This is the heart of Swiss democracy. The people decide directly, not through politicians, and the people chose flexibility over a fixed national wage. The biggest reason Swiss workers earn so much isn't laws, it's productivity. Switzerland's economy is built around high-value sectors: banking, pharmaceuticals, advanced engineering, luxury goods, and high-tech manufacturing. These industries generate enormous value per worker, and companies share that value in the form of higher salaries. In simple terms, Swiss workers produce more, so they get paid more. This is a core principle in economics. Wages reflect productivity, not just politics. Another reason Switzerland can maintain such high wages is its education system. More than 2/3 of Swiss teenagers enter vocational apprenticeships. They learn real skills in real companies with real responsibilities. By the time they're finished, they're highly trained and completely job-ready. This means Switzerland has far fewer unskilled workers than most countries. And fewer unskilled workers means fewer people who would rely on a minimum wage to survive. The system essentially upgrades workers from the very beginning, long before they even enter the full-time labor market. Swiss unions are also different. They're not really known for constant strikes or loud protests. Instead, they focus on cooperation and hammering out long-term agreements. They negotiate salary floors, working conditions, safety rules, and vacation rights. These agreements often act just like minimum wages, but without being imposed from above by the government. This cooperative model creates incredible stability. You see very few strikes, few conflicts, and a lot of predictability. And predictable labor markets make it easier for businesses to pay high wages consistently. Of course, there's another major factor. Switzerland is expensive, very expensive. Groceries, housing, transport, eating out, everything costs more. Because the cost of living is so high, companies have no choice but to offer higher salaries if they want to attract anyone to work for them. Low wages simply wouldn't be enough to live on. In a way, the market itself forces wages upward. Not because it's a perfect market, but because living in Switzerland requires a certain income just to function. This natural pressure acts like an invisible minimum wage. Culture and social expectations also play a huge role. There's a strong belief in Switzerland that full-time work should provide a good, stable life. People value fairness, responsibility, and trust. Companies that pay unfairly low wages risk damaging their reputation, losing their best workers, and facing pressure from unions in the community. In Switzerland, fair pay isn't just an economic rule. It's a cultural norm, but it's not a perfect utopia. Low-wage jobs do exist, especially in sectors like cleaning, hospitality, and food services. Some people do struggle. Rent is sky-high, and childcare is incredibly expensive. This is why several Swiss cantons, which are like states, such as Geneva and Neuchâtel, have introduced their own regional minimum wages, usually around 22 to 24 francs per hour. So, Switzerland does use minimum wages, but only locally, and only where voters in that specific region support it. So, to sum it up, Switzerland has no national minimum wage, because it uses a completely different system, one built on cooperation, high productivity, strong unions, a powerful apprenticeship model, and a culture that simply expects fair pay. Most importantly, it's a system chosen directly by the people themselves. Switzerland proves that high wages don't always require government laws. Sometimes, strong institutions, skilled workers, and social trust can do the job even better. Could this system work everywhere? Probably not. It depends heavily on a country's culture, politics, and economic structure. But Switzerland shows us that there's more than one path to fair wages sometimes. The most effective solutions come from the bottom up, not the top down. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.